YouTube? We already had one crash right before we started this, so we're off to a good start tonight. Thank you so much again for taking time to watch this series. If you've made it to part 3, that tells me you've enjoyed parts 1 and 2. I've appreciated all the comments on the streams. I've also appreciated the likes and the subs. So thank you for doing that. If you haven't subbed yet and you've made it to part 3, come on, sub. You can turn off notifications if you want, but hit that sub button. Like the stream, leave a comment. As always, if you want to catch me live, 9:30 p.m. Pacific time on Twitch. Good stuff in part 2, and I'm very excited for part 3. Looks like the fire models have been fixed, so this is good. We're off to a good start already. Alright, Duncan. Boy, it'll be interesting to see how Duncan responds here to the fact that we talked to Morrigan. First, let me go save the dog.
The Mabari's stable for now, but not improving. Unless I get that herb I told you about, there's not much hope.
Is this the droid you're is this the flower you're looking for?
Let me see. Yeah, that's exactly it. Wonderful. Yeah, give me a moment and I'll make this into an ointment. He looks better already. I'm sure he'd thank you himself if he could.
Now what happens to him?
Let's give him a day or two to recover. Why not come back after the battle? Perhaps we can see about imprinting him on you.
You think?
Maybe. It's likely he understands you're responsible for curing him. Mabari are at least as smart as your average tax collector. Come back after the battle and just... well, take another look.
Is that a compliment to the dog or a shot at tax collectors? Dude, we need taxes for good okay, well, we're not gonna have a conversation about taxes right now. Duncan. Hello, sir.
So you returned from the wilds. Have you been successful?
We have.
Good. I've had the Circle mages preparing. With the blood you've retrieved, we can begin the joining immediately.
Can you tell me a little bit about it? Can you tell me just a little bit what's going to happen?
I will not lie. We Grey Wardens pay a heavy price to become what we are. Fate may decree that you pay your price now, rather than later.
So, Mr. Cryptic, does this mean that we can die?
As could any darkspawn you might face in battle. You would not have been chosen, however, if I did not think you had a chance to survive.
Let's go then. I'm anxious to see this joining now.
I agree. Let's have it done.
Then let us begin. Alistair, take them to the old temple.
Yay. I'm telling you, 50 bucks says I gotta drink this shit.
The more I hear about this joining, the less I like it.
Are you blubbering again?
Why all these damn tests? Have I not earned my place?
Maybe it's tradition. Maybe they're just trying to annoy you.
5 seconds ago, this asshole in Duncan's face says, I'm ready to do this joining. And then we get up here, he's like, maybe I don't want to do the joining. Come on, man. You don't got... So, this guy's got all this bravado in front of the leader, but, you know, get him off guard with his equals, with his peers. And all of a sudden, true colors. All right. Look, man. Are all humans such cowards? I don't like this any more than you guys do. All right. Why am I glowing red? Because I have a like a ability that's on me. I basically aggro everybody. It's a threat. I don't like this any more than you guys do.
I only know that my wife is in Highover with a child on the way. If they had warned me, it just doesn't seem fair.
Would you have come if they'd warned you? Maybe that's why they don't. The Wardens do what they must, right?
Including sacrificing us?
I'd sacrifice a lot more if I knew it would end the Blight.
It's very noble of you. I do prefer informed consent. I am a staunch supporter of informed consent. And And we didn't have that here. We don't know that, Davith.
Don't we? The Grey Wardens have saved the world from Darkspawn before. I'd say they know better than anyone what it takes. You saw those Darkspawns tonight. Wouldn't you die to protect your pretty wife from them? Maybe you'll die. Maybe we'll all die. If nobody stops the Darkspawn, we'll die for sure.
I've just never faced a foe I could not engage with my blade.
At last, we come to the joining. The Grey Wardens were founded during the First Blight, when humanity stood on the verge of annihilation. So it was that the first Grey Wardens drank of Darkspawn blood and mastered their taint.
We're going to drink the blood of those creatures.
As the first Grey Wardens
$50
did
pay
before
up.
us, as we did before you. This is the source of our power and our victory.
Those who survive the joining become immune to the taint. We can sense it in the Darkspawn and use it to slay the Archdemon.
So I'm gonna use my taint to slay the Archdemon, huh? Everybody talking about my taint. Ah, jeez. Wow, so we don't even know. We don't even know. The game could end right here. We could be done. Part 3, that's it. Ixnay, gone. I drink this vial of blood and I'm dead. All right, good run, guys. Hope you enjoyed Dragon Age with a therapist. All right, jokes aside. The look on his face is probably about how I would be looking at this right now. I appreciate traditions. I appreciate decorum to an extent, and that there are certain rituals associated with certain groups. I'm not here to try to poo-poo that entirely. But the crypticness around this, usually when people know they have to be cryptic about their intentions, it means that they have some empathy for the fact that if they are very clear at the outset of what you're getting into, there's a good chance that people are going to exert their autonomy and say no. Right? Like if Duncan showed up to my wedding day, even though I didn't want to get married, and Duncan says, "Hey man, I can bail you out of this wedding, but you're going to have to drink the blood of the Darkspawn with no guarantee that you're going to live through it. You down? I'm going to take you to a remote, far reach of the forest." Maybe I go, yeah, that's how bad I don't want to get married, but maybe I say to him, nah, dude, F off. I don't want anything to do with that. It's not exactly great for the Grey Wardens, not exactly great for the greater good, I suppose, but ultimately, having recruits in your ranks that are only there out of violation of their trust and with very little consent to what they're actually getting involved with, I don't think is a particularly good look either, and it's a big risk that you take as a Grey Warden. So what I don't particularly like about how this goes down is that once you're here, it's not really presented as if you have an out. Like, I would appreciate it, and maybe we'll get to a point where they have that, if Duncan would say, all right, if you all don't want in on this, you can leave now. But if from what you've seen, if you want to be a Grey Warden, then this is the risk you take. Like, I would appreciate. It would make this a little bit easier. But the way that all of this has been done, we're having to learn things on the back end, and he's basically relying on cost sunk in order to keep us in. And I just personally am not fond of that, because this doesn't feel like I have a lot of autonomy here. Now, I understand that if I said no, I want to get married, this entire game wouldn't exist. So obligatory video games don't persist if characters have good boundaries. But and if we're not sure about this, I'm going to ask it.
Since the beginning, the Grey Wardens have been charged with finding those who are strong enough to attempt the joining and recruiting them into our ranks for the good of all. Not all who drink the blood will survive, and those who do are forever changed. This is why the joining is a secret. It is the price we pay. We speak only a few words prior to the joining, but these words have been said since the first. Alistair, if you would.
Join us, brothers and sisters. Join us in the shadows where we stand vigilant. Join us as we carry the duty that cannot be forsworn. And should you perish, know that your sacrifice will not be forgotten, and that one day we shall join you.
Davith, step forward.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Boy, they really better hope he lives on the first shot.
Breath.
Because if he doesn't live, it's going to make it harder for us. Oh, no.
Step forward, Jory.
No, no, man.
I have a wife, a child. Had I
There
known...
is no turning back.
No. You ask too much. There is no glory in this.
I am sorry. But the joining is not yet complete. You are called upon to submit yourself to the taint for the greater good. From this moment forth, you are a Grey Warden. It is finished. Welcome.
2 more deaths. In my joining, only one of us died, but it was horrible. I'm glad at least one of you made it through.
How do you feel?
Well, I still remember the bullshit you pulled before I drank from the chalice, so I wouldn't say I'm feeling particularly great. Oh my god. You want to talk about boy, oh my god, my brain's running about 1,000 miles an hour right now. I am really floored that the instant reaction of Duncan to that. Okay, holy shit. So we talked about this a little bit last stream. I'm going to connect it to something we talked about last stream about first impressions. So we knew the risks before drinking out of that chalice. Yes. That guy's reaction to seeing the first guy die was totally legitimate. Totally legitimate. There's a huge dice roll there when you have everybody bear witness to that. Like, in some ways, they might have been, if they really wanted to do this in a way that wasn't going to be anxiety-inducing for us in this profound of a way, what you would have us do is each of us drink from that chalice in isolation. And then whatever and then you say, we'll see you on the other side, right? So, like, the first guy goes in, he drinks from the chalice, he dies. They slide his body across the floor, they throw him in a giant hole in the ground, and then they bring the next guy in, and you don't know what happened to him. That would be the better way to do this, okay? But what happened is that guy drank from the chalice, and we watched him die. And because that's the first impression that we got of the guy drinking out of the chalice, it biases all of our brains into a space of the unknown, into saying, I'm gonna die now. If he died drinking that, and that's the first thing I saw, that means I'm gonna die. And that happens without any conscious thought. So that guy I forget his name, him freaking out there is legitimate. All right? Even if we hold on its surface that this is the way that they've always done it, fine, okay? But to immediately go after that guy and stab him in the stomach and kill him because he freaked out a little bit and the things that matter to him came into his mind in this moment where he saw a guy die from what he's about to do. I don't know why Duncan doesn't just say, hey man, I get it, it's scary, that doesn't mean it's going to happen to you, give him a little more context, calm him down, because ultimately Duncan could have just slayed who might have become a Grey Warden. That guy could have drank that chalice and lived. So you try to talk him down. Sure, he drew his sword. Hey, man, I get it. Again, you have people ready to go, but Duncan doesn't have to come run after him and slice him open just because he pulled his sword while he's experiencing a bit of a worry about what this could potentially mean for him. Give the guy a little bit to calm down. Does the Darkspawn blood have an expiration date of 4 minutes after it's poured in a chalice? Like, there's no need for urgency there. So instead, Duncan just killed a guy who potentially could have been a Grey Warden and says he's sorry. I don't really know what he's sorry about. And then looks at me and basically goes, all right, what do you want? A sword through your chest, or you want to take a sip out of the chalice? Right? So much of this, so much of where we are right now is through coercion. More so than our own sense of duty. Like, we are basically following a path of duty that has been impressed upon us. We're being told that all of this stuff matters. But like what? So a guy, like, what happens if a guy has a terrible judge? He's like, oh yeah, we're tasked with just trying to find people who are strong enough. Like, what if your judgment sucks on this, dude? Like, obviously your judgment's not super great because when the first guy drank, he died. So how can I have confidence in the fact that when I drink out of this chalice, I'm going to live? It's just a very backwards way of doing that. So I think if you're going to do something like this, you have to refine your methods. I understand if there's something about this where you don't want it to get out, you don't want other people to know what the Grey Wardens are about, you don't want them to know that in order to be a Grey Warden, you have to drink the Darkspawn blood, yada, yada, yada. But again, if your methods are that questionable and that problematic, perhaps what you need to do is seek more favor of people who control the narratives, right? Like, King Kalen obviously is a big believer in the Grey Wardens. Go talk to the king about, hey man, how can we help people understand a bit about the Grey Wardens? Maybe get them excited to join. Maybe, like, there's got to be a different way to do this than just plucking people out of vulnerable moments, moving them to Ostagar in the far reaches of Ferelden, and then forcing them to drink out of a chalice that might kill them. So, just saying. And yeah, there's no way that's the first time. Duncan knew what he had to do there. Yeah, of course. That wasn't the first time Duncan's ever done that. Absolutely not. Because he obviously, who wouldn't freak out there? You or I are standing in that line. We're going to probably freak out when we see that guy drop dead as soon as he drank out of the chalice, because that's the first impression. You're literally just going against your biology there. And then we watch Duncan do that. So you know what's going through my mind now while I'm sitting here and he asks, how do I feel? What a loaded question. He sits here and asks, how do I feel? The first thing that goes through my mind here is, well, Jesus, dude, if I do anything that doesn't perfectly align with your covert and cryptic rule system, I at any point could expect your sword to go through my stomach. So what? Am I not allowed the autonomy of dissent? Am I not allowed to critically think about what we're doing? What happens if we're in a position where I question one of the traditions? Are you going to just drive a stake through my throat without us talking about it first? Like, I just watched you kill that guy in cold blood after you told him that he's strong enough to be a Grey Warden. You didn't even give him a chance to drink out of the chalice. It's very, very, very hard for me to trust Duncan because of how he has acted throughout this playthrough. And I realize that there are some folks that are struggling with my hesitance to trust Duncan, but he has not done much to show me that I can just unconditionally respect him and trust that he's not going to do something wild and out of left field. He has all this knowledge. He knows everything about what's going on, and there is this assumption that we should just be okay with being uninformed about this stuff, that we just need to trust the process. It's a real struggle because he is not, there seems to be very little awareness for him on how the way that he presents affects the people who watch him. I don't view what he did as a show of force. I don't view what he did as like, oh, dude, I got lots of respect for you right now, dude. I look at this and go, what the hell? So, he's on a short leash for me. Like, I'm watching my back around him until he shows that he's willing to put some effort in to help me understand more about what's going on here. And that's just where I'm at. Right, I realize there's not a ton of analysis in there. There's more of just me reacting here. But like what we're seeing is this is the kind of stuff that happens in cults or otherwise. Like if they're afraid of us telling people about the tradition, then they need to do a better job helping us understand the history of the tradition and understanding why it's problematic to tell other people about it. So much, there's just such a loss of information here that we can't connect the same dots. All of this has been like he's using the greater good to justify his actions, which may or may not be true. Damn. I can't believe you killed Sir Jory.
Jory was warned that there was no turning back, as were you all. When he went for his blade, however, he left me no choice.
Bullshit.
It brought me no pleasure to end his life. The Blight demands sacrifices from us all. Thankfully, you stand here as proof they are not all made in vain.
Did you have dreams? I had terrible dreams after my joining.
Such dreams come when you begin to sense the Darkspawn, as we all do. That and many other things can be explained in the months to come.
Before I forget, there is one last part to your joining. We take some of that blood and put it in a pendant. Something to remind us of those who didn't make it this far.
Oh, good. A trauma trinket. Thank you. Love that.
Take some time. When you're ready, I'd like you to accompany me to a meeting with the king.
Kind of meeting. Answer my fucking question, Duncan.
The king is discussing strategy for the upcoming battle. I am not sure why he has requested your presence. The meeting is to the west, down the stairs. Please attend as soon as you're able.
Wow. Holy cow. Yeah, I don't know that Sir Jory really had much choice there. I don't know that that was, you know, he didn't just kind of willy-nilly walk in. He knew the risks. He knew that there was no turning back. I mean, yeah, you told us that after we were locked in this chapel about to drink from the chalice. It's not like you told him that before you plucked him out of here. Hey, by the way, dude, when you get there and we do this ritual that we're going to do, there's a point of no return. I'm not exactly going to tell you where the point of no return is, but it's going to be there. And you're just, like, are you cool with that? I think most people would say no. And again, it's indicative of the Grey Warden methods. If you're this important to the survival of the universe, then you need to do a better job advocating for yourself so that you can get some better representation and you can get people more jazzed about joining. Not this secretive, culty bullshit. Oh my god. Alright. I will be right back. I'm gonna go get more water because I'm parched after all that bullshit, and I'm also gonna pee really quick. So I'll be right back. Hang tight. Jeez. Yeah, parched after drinking all that undead blood, exactly. Will the blood necklace keep that trauma fresh? I mean, I don't know, it kind of depends, but I mean, you're giving me this reminder of a moment that I'm not particularly fond of. I mean, I'm sure there's probably good intentions behind that, is like this thing that really means something, but I'm the one that decides what has meaning, not them. Alright, let's level myself up, huh? At least I get to level up a little bit, huh? Maybe a little bit? Talents. Shield defense. Very precise. We'll go precise striking. Okay, Alistair, what do you think, buddy?
If the king wants to see you and Duncan, you probably shouldn't keep him waiting. He might get mad, start crying. You'll feel bad, and, well, it won't be pretty.
Okay.
We can speak more after the meeting with the king.
Alrighty. Well, let me go talk to... Oh, there's the king right here. Alrighty.
Loghain, my decision is final. I will stand by the Grey Wardens in this assault.
You risk too much, Kalen. The Darkspawn Horde is too dangerous for you to be playing hero on the front lines.
If that's the case, perhaps we should wait for the Orlesian forces to join us after all.
I must repeat my protest to your fool notion that we need the Orlesians to defend ourselves.
It is not a fool notion. Our arguments with the Orlesians are a thing of the past, and you will remember who is king.
How fortunate Maric did not live to see his son ready to hand Ferelden over to those who enslaved us for a century.
Then our current forces will have to suffice, won't they? Duncan, are your men ready for battle?
They are, Your Majesty.
And this is the recruit I met earlier on the road? I understand congratulations are in order.
Didn't have a choice, really.
I suppose none of us do. But every Grey Warden is needed.
Your fascination with glory and legends will be your undoing, Kalen. We must attend to reality.
Fine. Speak your strategy. The Grey Wardens and I draw the Darkspawn into charging our lines, and then?
You will alert the tower to light the beacon, signaling my men to charge from
To
cover.
flank the Darkspawn, I remember. This is the Tower of Ishal in the ruins, yes? Well, who shall light this beacon?
I have a few men stationed there. It's not a dangerous task, but it is vital.
Then we should send our best. Send Alistair and the new Grey Warden to make sure it's done.
Okay. I mean, if it's not that dangerous, I could do it on my own, I guess. There's a lot of faith in me. I'm brand new. Oh, you're putting a lot of stock into my title and less into my own personal merits here, man. Holy shit. If it's not dangerous, I can go on my own. What? Why did I just do all of this? Hey man, risk death by drinking out of that chalice so that you could go Paul Revere this shit.
No. It's best that you both go.
You rely on these Grey Wardens too much. Is that truly wise?
Enough of your conspiracy theories, Loghain. Grey Wardens battle the Blight no matter where they're from.
Your Majesty, you should consider the possibility of the archdemon appearing.
There have been no signs of any dragons in the wilds.
Isn't that what your men are here for, Duncan?
Yes, Your Majesty.
Your Majesty, the tower and its beacon are unnecessary. The
We
circle
will
of
not
Magi...
trust any lives to your spells, mage. Save them for the Darkspawn.
Enough. This plan will suffice. The Grey Wardens will light the beacon.
Thank you, Loghain. I cannot wait for that glorious moment. The Grey Wardens battle beside the King of Ferelden to stem the tide of evil.
Yes, Galen. A glorious moment for us all.
You heard the plan. You and Alistair will go to the Tower of Ishal and ensure the beacon is lit.
What? I won't be in the battle.
This is by the king's personal request, Alistair. If the beacon is not lit, Tern Logain's men won't know when to charge.
So he needs 2 Grey Wardens standing up there holding the torch, just in case, right?
Wow, okay. So I can't pause in the middle of these cutscenes, so I'm gonna back us up here for a minute. There is some real power to the misrepresentation of Grey Wardens here that is, I think, not good. Particularly because the King's word is the one that is the final say. The King has a complete misrepresentation of the convictions of the Grey Wardens. Right? Think about the dissonance between what the King thinks and what we literally just experienced. There was a ton of, like, hesitancy amongst all of us at the idea of what we had to do in order to become Grey Wardens, and we are not particularly well informed on what we do and who we are. So, because Kalen has this idea that the Grey Wardens are these super noble, altruistic powerhouses that are just the absolute worst nightmare of Darkspawn, he's making decisions based on that representation rather than the reality that, like, I just got here and I don't have too much of a personal conviction on this. I'm here because I was plucked out of a vulnerable spot. I was going to go to jail to rot. So I'm here because of that, because Duncan bailed me out of that. I'm not here because I grew up desperately wanting to destroy the Darkspawn and I went to the gym and went full Rocky 4 hours a day to try to make sure that I could knock him out. Like, that's not how this works, dude. So he's already not in the right place with this decision that he's making. And that's not good. That's part of how the Grey Warden process is working against itself. It is true, I did raid an entire castle in the intro. But that's only because I'm playing on easy. It's you need people making the calls to be very informed on the reality of what the groups of people they're commanding are built upon. My gosh. And also, can we just talk about how uncohesive this plan feels? This doesn't seem airtight. Like, we've got Logain and Kalen still not even in full agreement about how this should go. Kalen then relies fully on, I'm the king. So, right, like, Logain's like, hey, man, I don't know. And he's like, well, I'll have you remember who your king is. So Logain doesn't really have any power here. And there's, like, dissonance among the guys who are even trying to strategize this. We're being put in a position that doesn't make a ton of sense. Duncan, when we express that bit of, like, hey, man, this doesn't seem right, Duncan's like, nah, man, if the king ordered it personally, it must be good. But again, the king is working from a template that's not particularly realistic. Logain says we need to work with the variables we have, which I totally agree with. But then, again, there's too much discord within the ranks right now for us to even be prepared for this. So, the only two people that are confident in any kind of way are Logain and Kalen. And they are in disagreement. And I would love to know what each of their personal agenda is that is ultimate, because we know that we want to knock out the Darkspawn. That's the joint cause. Something's a little bit weird. Something's not lining up for me here. And that doesn't sow a bunch of confidence in me as we're about to go into battle to do this and light this torch. Where is the tower? So, anyway, I wanted to make sure that I commented on that because this feels like a losing battle here. Where is the tower exactly?
The tower is on the other side of the gorge from the king's camp, the way we came when we arrived. You'll need to cross the gorge and head through the gate and up to the tower entrance. From the top, you'll overlook the entire valley.
When do we light the beacon?
We will signal you when the time is right. Alistair will know what to look for.
This is so frustrating. This is so frustrating. Why are we so cryptic? When the time is right, Alistair will know what to look for. Duncan, I want to hear, I will flash a blue LED from X coordinates 5 times from this spot. That's what I want to hear, brother. I don't want to hear, you'll just know. It'll just feel right. This is terrible. Everything about this is terrible. It's just, oh my god. Oh, God. What if Alistair dies along the way? Right, exactly. Alistair will know what to look for. You don't know what to look for. Alistair catches an arrow through the brain. I guess the most important part of this is over. Jesus. What if the Archdemon appears? Like, I got so many what ifs. How well thought out is this?
We soil our drawers, that's what.
If it does, leave it to us. I want no heroics from either of you.
Okay, how much time do we have?
The battle is about to begin. Once I leave, move quickly. You'll have less than an hour.
Okay. We join the battle after?
Stay with the Terran's men and guard the tower. If you are needed, we will send word.
Okay, and are we in any danger here?
Of course. Even the best laid plans go awry. So do what you must. I trust you both.
Just not enough to actually fight with the rest of you.
There will be plenty of battles, Alistair. Be patient.
I guess I know what I have to do. Tyne, thank you for the Prime sub.
Then I must join the others. From here, you two are on your own. Remember, you are both Grey Wardens. I expect you to be worthy of that title.
Duncan, may the Maker watch over you.
May he watch over us all.
Oh my god. I don't know that I've ever felt less confident as a protagonist in a video game in my entire life. God. Holy shit. The storms are brewing. Oh man. Right, even the best plans go awry, and this is not even the best plan. So if the best plan goes awry, how did cryptic and shitty plans go, man? Okay, so we gotta go to the tower. Alright, is there anybody to talk to before we go? Oh my god. Even the quartermaster's gone. I could cry, man. I could just cry. Please tell me we don't have to watch all that shit again. Alright. I'm gonna burn through this. I'm gonna take the same exact dialogue options as always.
And this is the recruit I met earlier. Then we should send our best. Send Alice.
What? So he needs 2 Grey Wardens standing up there holding the torch, just in case, right?
You'll need to cross the gorge and head through the gate. We will signal you when the time is right. Alistair, if it does, leave it. Stay with the Terran's men. The battle is about to begin. There will be...
God, I'm gonna have to save every 5 seconds. Sure, you go get blessed first, you filthy heathen. Yes, yes, thank you for the reminder, Anonymous, that I'm a filthy heathen. Yes. Man. That lady was something else, wasn't she? How many terrified of going through that door. Let's try the other door. Armor looks so cool. I love that armor. That helmet's badass.
The plan will work, Your Majesty.
Of course it will. The blight ends here.
Oh, jeez, man. Yeah, see? Yeah, they're scary, aren't they? Oh my god. Oh my god, I would shit my pants. God.
Let's cross the bridge and get to the Tower of Ishal.
Well, hot damn. Holy shit. All this is happening underneath us? Whoa. Alright, let's go. Listen, my children, you will hear the midnight run of Paul Revere. Oh! Oh, God. Oh, shit. Alistair, what are you doing, buddy? Come on. Oh, God.
Press on! You should never come.
Go, go, go.
Help me. They're everywhere. They've you're Grey Wardens, aren't you? The tower, it's been taken.
What are you talking about, man? Taken how?
The Darkspawn came up through the lower chambers. They're everywhere. Most of our men are dead.
Then we have to get to the beacon and light it ourselves.
Oh. Okay. Well, come Tower Guard and Mage.
We must get to the top of the tower.
Not great. This is not great.
Never any shortage of bees.
Oh, no.
All right.
Alright, well done. Nice and smooth. Excuse me, fellas. I'd like to get down. Oh. Yeah, I mean, I guess we were mad about lighting the fuse, but we're getting to fight anyway. Remember, even the best laid plans go awry, chat. Even the best laid plans. Yeah, what up? Okay. So far, so good. It's very satisfying to kill these guys.
Take that!
Alright. Again, nice job. Let's work our way up. Tower of Ishal. In we go. Save. I'm gonna save every time I walk through a door. Oh, this is cool. Alright. Let's go. Rock and roll, fellas. Oh, shit. Dudes in here. Nice. All right, here we are. So, we need to figure out a way to get to the top.
I'm off.
First, we're gonna level ourselves up here. Level 5 warrior. I got 3 talents to use. I am still inclined to just kind of chuck them all in strength for the time being. Mocking bellow catches the attention of nearby foes, increasing their hostility toward the warrior. That's probably what I want. Alistair, level you up. He's got 3. Let's get you some more constitution. And let's have you... Oh, he's very similar to me. Let's roll. Metal door. Oh, what's up, guys? Just chilling? Like the locusts from Gears of War. They just come up from the ground. Oh, God. Oh, hey. I am tank. I am tank. Chainmail boots. Oh, look at this. Some delicious pies and meats.
Yes.
That's why they were in here. They were eating. Ah, dude, they just come up from the ground.
All right.
Wooden crate. Yeah, it's just, might as well loot the shit out of this place while we're here.
Yes.
It's locked. Okie dokie. Seems like this is probably...
Right there.
They have a lot of range forces. Alright. Another locked chest. Boy, I wish I could just like stomp on that chest. Gotta be breakable. Alright, up we go.
Maker's breath. What are these Darkspawn doing ahead of the rest of the Horde? There wasn't supposed to be any resistance here.
No point in moaning. You could try telling them they're in the wrong place.
Right, because clearly this is all just a misunderstanding. We'll laugh about this later. At any rate, we need to hurry. We need to get up to the top of the tower and light the signal fire in time. Taron Logain will be waiting for the signal.
Yeah. Yeah, Alistair, we didn't plan for this. I'm not trying to be like short and annoyed with him, but these are moments where you really you're tested. Because sometimes people get stuck in these moments where they think about what it should have been or what they were expecting it to be rather than working with the reality of what's actually going on. So Alistair sitting here and kind of bemoaning it and stating the obvious is fine, but if he gets really wrapped up in this and keeps saying things like, this isn't what was supposed to happen, this isn't how it was supposed to be, that's not useful. Because that's energy that's being diverted over to a space that doesn't do us any good. We need to be now focused on, okay, yeah, dude, this wasn't supposed to happen, but it did. So the reality of this is that we've got Darkspawn in this tower. Shit has hit the fan. We need to create a plan on the fly here, and we need to make sure that we're all on the same page. Like, that's the way we need to direct this energy. And if one of these people in the party is a good leader, that's exactly what they're going to do with it. Because we can't bemoan this for too long. I get it. It's not what you were hoping for, but now you got to work with reality, and that's a thing that happens for all of us in real life. When your plans don't go according to plan, spend less time being angry, or spend less time focusing on the plan not going the way you wanted, and more time focusing on responding to what is happening now. It'll help you get back on track and more in a sense of control of what's happening. Wow. Dude, this game holds up ridiculously well for being 12 years old. Like, I just... looks so good. All these chests are locked. What up, fellas? And yeah, I really hope that Alistair's spider senses are gonna tingle, because we're supposed to know what the moment is right. See, this is exactly why that cryptic information is so unuseful. Because when you say you'll just know it, and then shit hits the fan, we're so focused on trying to respond and react to what's going on that maybe now we won't know it. So explicit directions and plans are always better than cryptic plans. And this is the exact reason why. Like, if you were always saying the best plans go awry, then you better make sure the parts that need to be airtight remain airtight. Badass. Can I use this to shoot these guys? Alright. I gotta say, the beheadings are always intense, but are always badass.
Yes.
Just like, what a show of force. Lesser injury kit. Health poultice, that seems good. Everybody good? Oh, goodness. Look at that. Up there as an example. Yikes. Instill fear in the hearts of your enemies so that they may react rather than respond to it. What up? I would be interested to know if there is actually military strategy for the Darkspawn, because there may be a reason they're trying to take this tower. Other than maybe it's like just a generally effective spot to have, given that it's in Ostagar, but them infesting this and us not seeing this coming is interesting to me in that way. Like, I wonder how much credit we actually give the Darkspawn to think rather than just use brute force.
Logain better be ready to charge as soon as we light the signal. The king is depending on us.
Okay, so Logain's got a separate army away from the king. The king's holding the line. I don't even know where Logain is relative to where we are.
More darks.
Hey, what up, homie?
I'm all right. Nice game. Oh, how amusing! Take that!
Darkspawn are like TIE fighters, man. They're just like fully reliant on numbers. If the whole horde of them was just sitting at the exit instead of being dispersed throughout the tower, we would not be having a good time. What do we have here? Weapon stand. Short bow. Not interested. Very interesting short bow sitting on this rack, huh? What up? Attack me!
Take that! Yes.
Stuff. I like the mage just like hurling shit over too. It's awesome. Alright, we got some dogs. Can I let them out to help us out? Maybe not. Shield's not that great. Okay, so we got a bunch of different rooms. Probably worth going in the fight.
Yes.
Down you go!
Stand up, mage. We're getting a lot of health stuff, which is good.
We need to get to the beacon.
Get to the
The
top
king
of the
needs
tower.
Logain to charge.
It's death root extract. I guess I can sell all this stuff eventually. Getting these potions is helpful. Anything that we can read about here? Codex. Genlock are the most common darkspawn in the underground. Stocky and tough, Genlocks are notoriously difficult to kill, even by magic. In any group of Genlocks, there is usually one who is dominant. As the tallest, strongest, and smartest of their kind, alphas serve as a sort of commander, directing or bullying the others in combat. Emissaries are the most intelligent of the alphas, become gifted sorcerers with many abilities akin to blood magic. These are the emissaries, and they usually only appear during a blitz.
All right.
Cool ass tower. You got like statues everywhere. We got open concept ceilings. Like, look how cool this is. Like, even though you're in these little cubbies, like this whole area, this whole thing is just. Chip and Joanna really did a nice job here. Stuff. It's unlocked. Come on, man. Do I need the key?
I'm off.
These guys has the key. Weapon stand. What do you got for me? Battle axe. Ooh, 12. Oh, it's two-handed though. I don't want a two-handed weapon. Leave it be. Go back out here real quick just to make sure that I didn't miss anything. I don't think I did. Good to go. I do like that you can use this camera angle if you want. I'm not generally fond of that camera angle in games, but... Oh, hello there.
I sent some darkspawn.
Oh god, he throws boulders. Oh! Oh! Hey, buddy. Attack me. Attack me, not the mage. Got taunted. Oh!
He's getting.
Oh my god. Oh!
Take that!
Get up! Get up! Oh my god.
Going. No! Not bad. Not bad at all.
Okay.
Wow.
Right.
Alright, we did it.
Next.
I'm off.
Potion, heavy chainmail, tier 3. That's better than what I currently have on, so we'll go ahead and wear that. Ooh. Havard's Aegis. Missile deflection, strength modifier. So it's still not Journeyman Lightning Rune. Heavy Chainmail. I'm gonna take that. I guess we'll take the shield for now, but there's a Codex. Okay. Havard's Aegis. Havard was Maferath's closest friend. They were children together in the same Avar clan. They fought side by side in so many battles that Maferath dubbed him Havard of Aegis, better to have at his side than any shield. Maferath brought Havard with him to meet with the Tevinters. It was unthinkable to stand before his enemies without his Aegis. When he understood that Maferath was giving Andraste over to be executed, Havard, unwilling to draw swords against his friend and liege, placed himself between Andraste and the Tevinter soldiers. The Tevinters struck him down, and Maferath left him for dead. But Aegis was not so easily destroyed. Havard lived and made his way, gravely wounded, to the gates of Minrathos to stop the execution. Too late. He found only the ashes of the prophet, left to the wind and the rain. When his fingers touched the ash, his ears filled with song, and he saw a vision of Andraste dressed in cloth of starlight. She knelt at his side, saying, "Rise, Aegis of the faith. The Maker shall never forget you so long as I remember." His wounds healed instantly, and with new strength, Havard gathered up Andraste's remains and carried them safely back to the lands of the Elmari. Ogre. Towering over their darkspawn kin, the massive ogres are a rare sight on the battlefield. Traditionally, they only appear during a blight, but some records claim that ogres have been spotted in the deep roads, hunting alone or in small groups. At least one report by the Grey Wardens claims that an ogre was spotted alone in the Kakari wilds in 919. Dragon, though it was weakened and easily dispatched. Up to 100 of these creatures can accompany a darkspawn horde at any one time during a blight, often using their great strength to burst through fortifications and demolish the front lines of the opposing army. They use brute force to charge their enemies like bulls, slam the ground with their fists to shake enemies off their feet, and hurl giant rocks into the face of oncoming foes. Melee can be difficult against a giant that snatches a warrior up in one hand, crushing the life out of him or beating him into oblivion with the other hand. The nimble can try to wiggle his way free, or an ally can attempt an array of stunning blows on an ogre to free the comrade in danger. Grey Warden lore urges caution when slaying an ogre. Unless it is ensured that they have received a major wound to the head or heart, it is possible that they are lying dormant and will regenerate to full health within a matter of minutes. During a blight, most Grey Wardens recommend burning all darkspawn to ashes, dead ogres in particular. Jeez. That's, intense. Alright, heavy chainmail. Let's pop that on. Yeah. So, a lot of stuff here. Alright, Warden's Oath. Ooh, I got a necklace I can put on. What does that do? 2 strength, 2 constitution. Oh, that's the necklace that they gave me. And I have a trinket too, I think. Or at least I thought I did. Ash War Axe. +2 attack, critical hit chance. Alright. Ceremonial longsword is still better. It would seem. Man, I'm looking good. I'm looking real good. Okay, ogre down. This is good. Came up these stairs. And I suppose we talked to... Oh, there's the beacon. Alright.
The beacon is over here. We've surely missed the signal. Let's light it quickly before it's too late.
Oh, gee. How? What were... Okay. Again, what signal were we supposed to see? This doesn't feel right. How on earth, aside from something being in the sky shining through broken stained glass, this isn't adding up.
sound the retreat.
But what about the king? Should we not...
Do as I command.
Pull out! All of you, let's move!
Oh, okay, cool. What a dick. Oh my god. Well, now we know why there was dissent.
Ah, your eyes finally open. Mother shall be pleased.
Well, okay. Oh, man. Wow. All right. Well, Logain, sound the retreat, and they follow the orders. You know what that tells me? Is that Logain understands who he was working with better than Kalen. Because if all of the troops and all of the wardens shared the convictions that Kalen seemed to think that they do, if they were all as invested in the glory of battle and all of that as him, I don't think they would have retreated there when Logain called it. Right? Like, they might have had a better idea of the plan. They might have been like, no, we're not retreating. We're going in there. We're here to stop this thing. But Logain knew what he was working with. There was enough meh in there that they're willing to listen to him and retreat and go, yeah, all right, fine. I'll do as you say, man, because my personal conviction is not going to override this. And I understand that there's kind of like a military portion of that where, like, you follow orders and all that. But regardless, none of who was with Logain possessed enough conviction on what was going on to try to override that. And so this is the crypticness of all of that really only supported Logain being able to pull off that betrayal. I mean, that's really just, it's clever moving by him. I don't think it's cool what he did, but I can certainly appreciate the cleverness of it. Be curious to see what happens now. And now somehow I got pulled out of there, and I'm now in Morrigan's hut. What happened?
You were injured, and then Mother rescued you. Do you not remember?
Sure don't. She rescued me? You mean from the tower?
Mother managed to save you and your friend, though 'twas a close call. What is important is that you both live. The man who was to respond to your signal quit the field. The Darkspawn won your battle. Those he abandoned were massacred. Your friend, he is not taking it well.
Oh, wow. No. What's interesting to me about this is that without us seeing the cutscene, we wouldn't know that what she's telling us is the truth. Like, we were in a tower. We couldn't see shit. We lit the beacon, and then we got overwhelmed by Darkspawn. So, this would be, I think, hard information to take in. And it may even be a little bit difficult to trust her, because that sounds ridiculous from everything that we saw, unless we were skeptical of Loghain on the outset. Right, so we have a bit of omniscient information here that is, it kind of colors the way that we inform this. Like, we just woke up after, I mean, I can appreciate being saved, but I want to know, how do you know? How did you know that? Were you sitting up on a mountain watching it? Did you use magic? Like, how on earth did you know that this happened? I would have so many questions. Like, what happened to the Grey Wardens and the King?
All dead. Your friend has veered between denial and grief since Mother told him. He is outside by the fire. Mother asked to see you when you awoke.
So that would make sense, right? Because Alistair's going to deny it, because it wouldn't make sense to him based on what he's known up until this point. I have some questions, if you don't mind.
I do not mind. Take your time.
Are we safe here, and where are the Darkspawn?
We are safe, for the moment. Mother's magic keeps the Darkspawn away. Once you leave, 'tis uncertain what will happen. The Horde has moved on, so you might avoid it.
Okay, why did your mother save us?
I wonder at that myself. But she tells me nothing. Perhaps you were the only ones she could reach. I would have rescued your king. A king would be worth a much higher ransom than you.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
What a sensible attitude. Mother is seldom sensible, however.
How did she get us? How did she manage to rescue us exactly?
She turned into a giant bird and plucked the two of you from atop the tower, one in each talon. If you do not believe that tale, then I suggest you ask Mother yourself. She may even tell you.
Oh. Are we the only survivors?
Only stragglers that are long gone. You would not want to see what is happening in that valley now.
Are they eating them?
Are you sure you want me to describe it?
Yes, please. I wouldn't have asked if I didn't. That's a little bit snarky. I mean, she's being relatively nice to us, and she's being... Like, don't ever ask questions you don't want the answer to. But yeah, no, tell me.
I had a good view of the battlefield. 'Tis a grisly scene. There are bodies everywhere, and Darkspawn swarm them, feeding, I think. They also look for survivors and drag them back down beneath the ground. I cannot say why.
They be rescued?
If you are willing to run into the midst of the Horde, perhaps.
Doesn't seem worth it. Do you know why Logain abandoned the king if you're so omniscient?
I do not know who this Logain even is. Perhaps ask Mother of it.
I think I've got enough questions.
I agree. 'Tis time you speak with Mother, then be on your way.
Codex updated. Okay. Sir Cothrian. Some of us know what honor and loyalty are. Cothrian came to Logain's service the hard way. She belonged to a poor family and was out doing work on the farm when she saw a man on horseback being attacked by several bandits. She rushed to his assistance and found out belatedly that the man she saved was none other than the great hero Logain. Though she was hardly more than a child, he took her in, offering her a position with his soldiers, and she climbed through the ranks through sheer determination, becoming the commander of Merrick's shield. Logain's elite soldiers was the proudest moment of her life. No wonder she listened to him then. King Kaelin. He fell in battle alongside Duncan at Ostagar. Duncan. Men and women from every race, warriors and mages, barbarians and kings, the Grey Wardens sacrificed everything to stem the tide of darkness and prevailed. I think we read this. He was killed in the battle against overwhelming numbers of Darkspawn and Ostagar alongside King Kaelin. Logain, during the Battle of Ostagar. I don't know if we read about him yet. Takes more than legends to win a battle. Logain was born a farmer during a time when his country was under foreign occupation. When he was still a boy, he joined the resistance, where his considerable tactical genius quickly became apparent. He became close friends with Prince Merrick and the last true heir to the Ferelden throne, and together they led the rebels to drive out the forces of the Orlesian Empire. Merrick raised his friend to the nobility, and Logain is now more of a symbol than a man. He represents the Ferelden ideals of hard work and independence. During the battle at Ostagar, he fled the field, leaving King Kaelin and the Grey Wardens to die.
You must speak to Mother, then be gone. You have an army of Darkspawn to avoid, and 'twould be best to get an early start.
Why does your mom want to see me?
I do not know. She rarely tells me her plans.
How are my injuries?
Yes, but I expect you shall be fine. The Darkspawn did nothing Mother could not heal.
How's Alistair doing?
He is, as you are. I suppose it would be unkind to say he is being childish.
Thank you for helping me. I do appreciate that.
You were welcome. Though Mother did most of the work, I am no healer. I will stay and make something to eat.
Oy vey, man. Oh, you were standing awful close to me, Morgan. Got some books to read. Use this tome, gives the reader up, I guess. Got 4 points to spend. Let's go expert combat training or combat tactics. Character lashes out the shield 3 times. First 2 hits inflict normal damage. Last strike is a critical hit if it connects, knocking the target down. Okie dokie. Boy, what a trip. I really want to know did that achievement pop when you got your PhD? Yeah. I'm thinking about Logain's action there. And we just don't know anything about that decision. The only thing that I could even hypothesize is kind of like a lame reason for him to do it, which is that he just got tired of Caitlyn devoting resources to trying to fight the Darkspawn. But like Logain doesn't, I don't really know what reason Logain would have to like side with the Darkspawn. I don't think it has anything to do with that. Maybe he just wants power. Maybe he wants more control. Maybe he's got different ideas for how to fight the Darkspawn and wants to be legitimized in some way. I just don't know how he's going to spin it, other than the fact that the only people who know what happened are Morrigan and her mother, who are not necessarily going to be taken seriously by people because they're seen as these crazy witches that live in the swamp. So Logain essentially can spin the story in whatever way he wants to people that matter, create a narrative about that battle, and leverage all the trust that people have in him in order to make that happen. Like, he has the ultimate leverage to do the spin on how people are going to conceptualize that moment, right? Because people are going to find out that the king is dead, that he was killed at the Battle of Ostagar. Now what happens is you send all of society into a tailspin because everybody's terrified of the Darkspawn. So not only are the Darkspawn back, not only is there a blight, they also killed the top Grey Warden and they killed the king. Logain, in some ways, might even be able to sound like he's a hero because he was able to pull troops out of there before everybody was decimated. And now he's the only thing left to be able to lead a fight against them. Like, he is able to have a huge amount of power and leverage the fact that everybody is terrified. And when people are terrified and don't have answers, they look to people who can very confidently give them a clear answer for what's going on, and that will be Logain. He will be able to do that. So if you want to be, you know, a jackass that grabs power at the expense of so many, that's how you do it. Like, Logain really nailed it. Got real Palpatine vibes going on there. I just don't... I don't know what good reason there... Like, I don't know what good omniscient for the betterment of society reason he has to kill the king there. Wasn't he not a huge fan of the Grey Wardens? Could he say that he told them the signal was to retreat and they were betrayed by the Grey Wardens? That is certainly a possibility as well. I mean, he can say whatever he wants. That's what's terrifying about this, is not only did Logain get away from this, Logain is the one who gets to control the narrative. The only people that know that Logain called that a retreat is his commanding officer and the troops that ended up retreating. The commanding officer, as we've learned, has a little bit too much... she's got a very personal investment in Logain. So I don't know that she's going to override him. And then the troops, I mean, who knows? But I don't really know that there would be much reason to dissent because they could get in trouble, or Logain's got all the power and benefit of the doubt in order for people to listen to what he has to say. So, could also argue that the war was a lost cause. He prevented greater losses. He seems more educated with the king in terms of battle, or the king just obsessed with the wardens. I don't know, man. I have a hard time getting on board with that. Here's the thing. Like, Logain and the king were in discussions about how to handle this. Did the king try to pull rank in order to determine what was going on? Sure. But Logain very clearly did this intentionally. Like, Logain literally sacrificed shitloads of people for his own personal gain. Not necessarily because the war is a lost cause. Like, that just... there's no... I have a hard time seeing what Logain did as this, like, for the betterment of society altruism. Like, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Now, I'm not a fan of the Grey Wardens after joining them. I don't like their process. I think Caitlyn was probably a bit misguided. But also, the Darkspawn threat was very real there. Like, we literally needed an army to hold them off. If we don't sit there at Ostagar, they make it through the gates. But, I mean, if you're gonna... This is why the descent in the ranks there was so problematic. So, I think if Loghain says... Because here's the difference, okay? Here's why I think what Loghain did was problematic. Loghain didn't say what he was going to do. If Loghain told Cailan, if he told Cailan in that moment, if he says to him, hey, dude, I'm just going to let you know right now, if the numbers look the way that I think they're going to look, the way that I have strategized this, and you're down there in that valley and you're fighting and you keep going, and I make a call there when I see the beacon, I'm retreating. I think what you're doing is stupid. I don't trust my men with that, so I'm going to bail. You want to go fight it, you go fight it. But I'm pulling my troops out if it looks bad enough. At that point, then, I look at it and I go, well, that was Cailan's decision. Cailan had every reason to believe that Loghain was going to back him up there. And I think probably went into it knowing that there was a plan where he was going to have backup. So for Loghain to pull the rug out under him like that, I just don't see the benefit. I don't really know what it serves in order to delete the symbol of fighting the Blight for all of the masses of Ferelden. On there only for him to be able to have his own power. I could be wrong. Maybe he's got some sort of grand scheme where I can be like, all right, dude, maybe that was the right call. But you would hope that there was a little bit more information up front. Everything was kept cryptic. Everything was weird. It's just... I at this point, with the information we have, it's very hard for me to give Loghain the benefit of the doubt here. I'm going to use it before I walk outside and talk to Morrigan's mother. I just want to say I appreciate y'all being here. I'm going to reiterate again, please do not spoil anything. Do not talk about anything we have not currently come across. My analysis is based on the information we have, not on the information that we will get. So I appreciate you all avoiding backseating and spoiling things. This is really complex stuff, man. Like, the beauty of this game is that there's a shitload of complications in all of these dynamics. And so I'm really excited to see how all of this unfolds. I mean, ultimately, I'm grateful to still be alive because of Morrigan and her mother, but we didn't see this firsthand. Like, our character did not see this. We, as the omniscient players, saw this. But my guy didn't see this. So right now, we are hanging on the word of Morrigan and her mother. So if Alistair is struggling, it makes a lot of sense. We did not actually watch Loghain retreat. Morrigan just told us that he did.
See? Here is your fellow Grey Warden. You worry too much, young man.
You're alive. I thought you were dead for sure.
I appreciate your concern, dude.
Oh, this doesn't seem real. If it weren't for Morrigan's mother, we'd be dead on top of that tower.
Do not talk about me as if I am not present, lad.
I didn't mean... But what do we call you? You've never told us your name?
Names are pretty, but useless. The chastened folk call me Flemeth. I suppose it will do.
The Flemeth? From the legends? Daveth was right. You're the Witch of the Wilds, aren't you?
And what does that mean? I know a bit of magic, and it has served you both well, has it not?
I just love how she just immediately points out the absurdity of all the symbols that people have made about her identity and what she's about. Like, she's like, y'all make a lot of assumptions, and they're not really suiting you, are they? You should probably pay attention to what you actually got here. She's awesome. She is so awesome. Why did you save us?
Well, we cannot have all the Grey Wardens dying at once, can we? Someone has to deal with these dark spawn. It has always been the Grey Warden's duty to unite the lands against the Blight. Or did that change when I wasn't looking?
So she believes in the Grey. This is what I'm talking about. So you even have Flemeth chilling in the swamp, who has bought into this idea that the Grey Wardens are a uniting force. So if Logain is leveraging himself and his status to sow doubt in the Grey Wardens, that is going to create, I think, some real panic amongst the masses. And I just... Ooh, that is some scary shit. Grey Wardens are no more. Let someone else do it. The land is hardly united, thanks to Logain. It changed when most of them were slaughtered. I mean, the land's... well, I don't know what's going to happen here. I would say it changed when most of them were slaughtered.
If you think small numbers make you helpless, you are already defeated.
But we were fighting the Darkspawn. The king had nearly defeated them. Why would Logain do this?
Now that is a good question. Men's hearts hold shadows darker than any tainted creature. Perhaps he believes the Blight is an army he can outmaneuver. Perhaps he does not see that the evil behind it is the true threat.
The Archdemon.
Interesting. Will you help us fight the Blight?
Me? I am just an old woman who lives in the wilds. I know nothing of blights and darkspawn.
Well, whatever Logain's insanity, he obviously thinks the Darkspawn are a minor threat. We must warn everyone this isn't the case.
And who will believe you? Unless you think to convince this Logain of his mistake.
He just betrayed his own king. If Al Eamon knew what he did at Ostagar, he would be the first to call for his execution.
I'm going to use this as an opportunity to remind people of the way the word insanity gets misused. What Logain did was not insane. People have a tendency to throw the word insane around when they watch people do something they don't agree with or something that they don't understand. And that's not what insanity is. Insanity is what comes along with insanity is a really inability to be coherent about the reality around you. It is chaotic, or it makes sense in a way that isn't in alignment with how reality is operating. It can be unpredictable, and it is very rarely indicative of something being well thought out. What Logain did was intentional. What Logain did was strategic. It had reason and function. He made a plan and he executed it using variables that he was attending to in the moment that he was there. So, using the word insane to describe that is a misuse of the word. And the reason why it's important to use words accurately is because you do a disservice to people who are actually insane when you water down the word insane. There are people who actually struggle with insanity, people who do things because they're experiencing psychosis or because they are incoherent with the realities of the world. That is not what this was for Logain. So if we call that insane, we're chalking up what happened to something that we would say is beyond Logain's control, when in reality what he did was absolutely within his control and was calculated. We need the accountability for Logain's decision to be on Logain the man, not Logain false conceptualization of insanity. So I just be mindful of the words that you use, because you can actually defer accountability at times for things that very much need to be held accountable. And in this case, that's Logain. You think the yeah, so this is the question, right? Do you think the Arl would believe us over the Terran, right? Like I
suppose. Al Eamon wasn't at Ostagar. He still has all his men. And he was Kaelin's uncle. I know him. He's a good man, respected in the Landsmeet. Of course, we could go to Redcliffe and appeal to him for help.
keep in mind that Loghain was also an honorable man. I mean, we absolutely have to have that in mind. Loghain's reputation is going to play a huge role in this. Because now we're into hearsay. That's a question for a lawyer, Mick Swarlton.
The Arl would never do what Tairn Loghain did. I know him too well. I still don't know if Al Eamon's help would be enough. He can't defeat the Darkspawn horde by himself.
Surely there are other allies we could call on.
Of course! The treaties! Grey Wardens can demand aid from dwarves, elves, mages, and other places. They're obligated to help us during a blight.
I may be old, but dwarves, elves, mages, this Arl Eamon, and who knows what else. This sounds like an army to me.
So can we do this? Go to Redcliffe and these other places and build an army?
I don't know, Alistair. I don't know, dude. Like, they're... Holy shit. I mean, the complexity here is amazing. We're, like, leveraging the goodwill of people in treaties. We are against a really massive force here. The king died. Okay, so when the king dies, when people put all their stock in leadership into, like, one person, and that person dies, it's like TIE fighters. You shoot the lead TIE fighter, they scatter. So people are in absolute disarray right now. I have no doubt if he's the strategist that he has been presented as, that Loghain has thought this out by about 10 steps. So immediately after Loghain retreated, I am sure that he has a story that he's going to bring to the masses, and he's going to spin this entire thing. So sure, do we have pieces of paper that say that people are going to join us when there's a blight? Are people going to go on the honor system and potentially help us out? Absolutely. They sure could. At the same time, if Loghain gets out ahead of this and basically says, nah, these guys died because they did something stupid. I got us out of there because I didn't agree with the king's methods, and this blight is not that big of a deal. Then people might doubt the treaties. Like, his ability to get out in front of this is huge. I don't even know how long I've been knocked out. But there's no way that Loghain is not already operating on this. He's a complete idiot if he's not planned for this. So sure, we could build an army. That would be great. But what are we going to do about the people who are willing to listen to Loghain? How are we going to get out in front of that? I mean, that's a huge question that we have to keep in mind here, and I don't think it's a simple answer. I don't think it's going to be as easy as that, Alistair. I really don't.
And when is it ever?
It's always been the Grey Warden's duty to stand against the blight. And right now, we're the Grey Wardens.
So you are set then, ready to be Grey Wardens.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean, what I saw was not good, so I do think we need to be ready here, because the Darkspawn are pretty shitty. I mean, they ran at that castle pretty hard. They seem to have it out for us. Like, I will say that at this point, if nothing else, my experience of watching the Darkspawn has been a place where, like, you know what? I can kind of get on board with this Grey Warden thing. If it's going to give me some power to fight against this stuff, so be it. I will be more involved with this than I otherwise would have been. I don't suppose you could offer any more help, huh? Well, no, I should answer her question. I'd be happy with just staying alive, which, if that means being a Grey Warden to do, that's cool. Yeah, I would say I'm ready. Thank you, Flemeth.
No, thank you. You are the Grey Wardens here, not I. Now, before you go, there is yet one more thing I can offer you.
The stew is bubbling, Mother dear. Shall we have 2 guests for the eve, or none?
The Grey Wardens are leaving shortly, girl. And you will be joining them.
Such a shame. What?
You heard me, girl. The last time I looked, you had ears.
That's cool, but only if she's down.
Her magic will be useful. Even better, she knows the wilds and how to get past the Horde.
Have I no say in this?
You have been itching to get out of the wilds for years. Here is your chance. As for you, Wardens, consider this repayment for your lives.
Consider this repayment for your lives? I don't follow. What did we... It's super interesting that she seems to think that us surviving this is a gift to her, more than her saving us. She's not a fan of her daughter, is she?
Pardon
is this
me,
your idea all along?
but I had the impression that you two needed assistance, whatever the form.
Not to look a gift horse in the mouth, but won't this add to our problems? Out of the wilds, she's an apostate.
If you do not wish help from us illegal mages, young man, perhaps I should have left you on that tower.
Point taken.
Mother, this is not how I wanted this. I'm not even ready.
You must be ready. Alone, these two must unite for Eldon against the Darkspawn. They need you, Morrigan. Without you, they will surely fail, and all will perish under the Blight. Even I.
I... understand.
And you, Wardens. Do you understand? I give you that which I value above all in this world. I do this because you must succeed.
I understand.
Allow me to get my things, if you please. I am at your disposal, Grey Wardens. I suggest a village north of the wilds as our first destination. 'Tis not far, and you will find much you need there. Or, if you prefer, I shall simply be your silent guide. The choice is yours.
I would much prefer you speak your mind. Like, if you're going to be in my crew, we're all going to be open and honest.
You will regret saying that.
Dear, sweet mother, you are so kind to cast me out like this. How fondly I shall remember this moment.
Well, I always said, if you want something done, do it yourself. Or hear about it for a decade or two afterwards.
Do you really want to take her along because her mother says so?
That's not why I'm taking her. Dude, we need all the help we can get, man.
I guess you're right. The Grey Wardens have always taken allies where they could find them.
I am so pleased to have your approval.
I got some questions first.
I may have answers. Ask.
Are you really Flemeth's daughter? What? You ever been outside the wilds?
From time to time. I have been to the village I mentioned, watched its people, and pondered what curious beings they are. On occasion, I purchased goods from the village merchants. There I spoke with men a little. There they stared and knew me as an outsider. Mother wishes for me to expand the horizon of my experience beyond the wilds. Even she was not born here.
Is that what you want?
What I want is to see mountains. I wish to witness the ocean and step into its waters. I want to experience a city rather than see it in my mind. So, yes, this is what I want. Actually, leaving is harder than I thought, however. Perhaps Mother is right. It must simply be done quickly.
Yeah. Lots and lots and lots of people experience this. It's one thing to imagine things in your mind, to get excited about all the things that are unknown that you hope to be known. Like, we love the idea of experiencing just relentless novelty and being able to see all the cool things that the world has to offer, whatever that may be for you. Like, we all create goals and dreams and have an idea of what we think would be better than where we currently are. But that is the devil you don't know. When you have the expression, the devil you know is better than the one you don't. When you put your roots down, or have your roots already in a certain place where you have consistency, reliability, connection, purpose, etc., even if that's not exactly what you want, leaving that consistency is immensely difficult. Humans do not handle change well, even when they want it. The unknown and change are risky from an evolutionary perspective. And it is often why people will experience anxiety when they're leaving, even when they know it's something that they want to do. Because it represents change. So I really appreciate that Morrigan is willing to ponder that and be in touch with it. And when it happens on your terms, it's hard, but when it happens not outside of your terms and timeline, it makes it even more difficult. So really, the moral of this is that even when you have the opportunity to do something that you really want to do, you are often going to experience anxiety related to it. And that's okay. Sometimes people get anxious about opportunities that are ultimately in their best interest, but will stop themselves from doing it as a way to avoid the anxiety associated with it, which they then couple with the opportunity itself. And that's sometimes how people get stuck in a rut in their current position. So it's important to understand that anxiety can come up even when your goals are in front of you and even when you have good, positive opportunities ahead of you. And Morrigan is talking to that, and I think that's cool. Panda, thank you for the 41 months. I need to add you to the Hall of Fame. I really appreciate you, friend. I hope you're still here. I'm sorry I didn't say thank you when it first came through. All right, so tell me about this village to the north.
'Tis a small place of little consequence called Lothering. No more than a stop along your Imperial Highway where travelers purchase goods from local farms and smiths. I would go more often were it not for the town's chantry. It makes the village particularly intolerant and unpleasant for a stranger such as me.
A chantry? And they never in all this time thought that maybe you were a witch?
Of course they have. They even called out their Templars once. They found nothing.
Sting, so what's our reason for going there?
I mention it for its tavern, where travelers gather with news from other places. 'Tis small enough that our appearance might go unnoticed. Beyond that, 'tis close, and I know the way.
How are we going to get past the Darkspawn, Morrigan?
The real question is how we are going to get your friend past the Darkspawn, is it not?
That's true. We can sense the Darkspawn. Conversely, they can sense us.
Yet another thing that they just didn't tell me. For being the great uniters of the world, we sure don't have a cohesive unit here. Jesus. Why wouldn't you tell me that? Look at this cool thing. We can feel the Darkspawn. Oh, also they feel you. No wonder they come running off the hills toward us. Alistair, what else don't I know? This is the time, man. That's not reassuring at all.
We should be able to sneak past smaller groups, but larger ones, or particularly intelligent Darkspawn, will always detect us.
Mother has given me something else for them to smell instead as we pass by. It is important we head out of the wilds, however, not farther in.
So it's smell? Are they camped out there?
They come from underground, like an eruption. They broke through deep within the forest, and that is where they will be most concentrated.
Okay. What skills do you have?
I know a few spells, though I am nowhere near as powerful as Mother. I have also studied history and your Grey Warden treaties.
Can you cook?
I can cook, yes.
Never mind him. You don't have to cook. What the hell are you doing, dude?
You missed your chance. Now it's charred rabbit from here on out.
Farewell, Mother. Do not forget the stew on the fire. I would hate to return to a burned-down hut.
Bah! 'Tis far more likely you will return to see this entire area, along with my hut, swallowed up by the blight.
All I meant was...
Yes, I know. Do try to have fun, dear.
Okay, now to be fair to Alistair, okay? Alistair may not have meant that in a bad way at all. Like, Alistair may have legitimately been like, look, can you cook? Because we both suck at it. Okay, so I do want to own that. It's not, I mean, Morrigan's reaction to that makes sense. Because she's kind of like, really, dude? The first thing you're going to ask me is if I cook? Like, you just kind of have to have some tact there. You know, it's sort of like, hey, Morrigan, we both really suck at cooking. Any chance you're good at it? Right? Like, that's better than just being like, can you cook? Put some context on it. It shows a bit of understanding of the context under which you're asking that question. Okay? It's okay to ask questions like that. I don't think Alistair meant to be sexist there. I'm not trying to be, you know, overly ridiculous about this, but it would have maybe been a little bit better if he could find a way to be playful about it, right? Like, and to put some context on it, because it's these questions need to be asked and they're legitimate, and know who you're working with. I also think that it's already been pretty clear that these two don't get along very well, so he also just, if you're going to start engaging with each other, her too, you have to be willing to kind of meet each other where you're at. Yeah, I mean, and that's my guess too, Anonymous, right? Is like his response there, I think, shows that like where that came from was not like necessarily sexism. Now, could she have potentially experienced that as a microaggression? Sure. I mean, I think her annoyance with that question represents that, right? So this is where we have a difference in impact versus intent. And as we always talk about when we have impact versus intent, we have to first empathize with the impact. So if Morrigan experienced that as a microaggression, we acknowledge it as that. We recognize that that's the case. Alistair says, all right, I need to do better about how I phrase this stuff. And then we can get more into looking at the intention behind that. He didn't mean anything by it. He literally meant we suck at cooking and we need somebody who's good at it. So if it ain't you, we got to find somebody along the way, right? Like, there is genuine curiosity in there. So this is a really beautiful example to an extent of how we manage impact and intention, because it's a both and. It doesn't have to be that the impact is the only thing that matters or the intention is the only thing that matters. Fact of the matter is, like, good communication is when information is received in the way that it was intended, but that doesn't always mean that the way that it was sent was particularly good or conducive to it being heard the way that it was meant to be sent. So Alistair can do a little bit of tweaking, understand a little bit of the context, and Morrigan can empathize with that, and they can work together to problem solve through that. No big deal. All right. Let's go ahead and level him up. Okay. I'm good. I've got a couple codex entries that I want to read. One tactics slot. Cool. I'm not going to worry too much about that. Characters. Arl Eamon Garen. Nobility does not exist without obligation. We owe all we have, even our lives, to the land and our people. As the maternal uncle of King Cailan, Arl Eamon is one of the king's most trusted advisors. Redcliffe, while not a large or especially wealthy part of Ferelden, is a critical strategic location. The fortress guards the western pass that leads to Orlais, as well as the major trade route with Orzammar. I think Orzammar is where the dwarves are. A well-respected man, though not the most charismatic, King Cailan once said of him, "My uncle Eamon is a man everyone thinks well of, when they remember to think of him at all." Flemeth. You are required to do nothing, least of all believe. I like that. Ages ago, legend says Ban Conabar took to wife a beautiful young woman who harbored a secret talent for magic, Flemeth of Highever. And for a time they lived happily until the arrival of a young poet, Osin, who captured the lady's heart with his verse. They turned to the Kaizen tribes for help and hid from Conabar's wrath in the wilds until word came to them that Conabar lay dying. His last wish was to see Flemeth's face one final time. The lovers returned, but it was a trap. Conabar killed Osin and imprisoned Flemeth in the highest tower of the castle. In grief and rage, Flemeth worked a spell to summon a spirit into this world to wreak vengeance upon her husband. Vengeance she received, but not as she planned. The spirit took possession of her, turning Flemeth into an abomination. A twisted, maddened creature, she slaughtered Conabar and all his men and fled back into the wilds. For 100 years, Flemeth plotted, stealing men from the Kaizen to sire monstrous daughters. Horrific things that could kill a man with fear. These Kokari witches led an army of Kaizen from the wilds to strike at the Almari tribes. They were defeated by the hero Cormac, and all the witches burned, so they say, but even now the Wilders whisper that Flemeth lives on in the marsh, and she and her daughters steal those men who come too near. Morrigan's mother saved the last Grey Wardens from death at the top of the Tower of Ishal, but just who or what Flemeth truly is a mystery. Witch of the Wild, such idle fancies, those legends, have you no minds of your own? Of herself, Morrigan says little. She does not deny being a Witch of the Wilds, but beyond that, everything about her is in question. Her mother claims to be Flemeth. If that's true, then Morrigan might well be a very powerful witch, for the tales of the daughters of Flemeth tell of twisted, monstrous women who can kill a man with fear. She was made to accompany the surviving Grey Wardens, the payment Flemeth said for saving their lives at the Tower of Ishal. All right. What a neat little house they have. All right, let's rock and roll. Lothering. Have we here? Denerin. Oh shit, here we go.
And I expect each of you to supply these men. We must rebuild what was lost at Ostagar, and quickly. There are those who would take advantage of our weakened state if we let them. We must defeat this Darkspawn incursion, but we must do so sensibly and without hesitation.
Your Lordship, if I might speak. You have declared yourself Queen Honora's regent, and claim we must unite under your banner for our own good. But what of the army lost at Ostagar? Your withdrawal was most fortuitous.
Oh, shit.
Everything I have done has been to secure Ferelden's independence. I have not shirked my duty to the throne, and neither will any of you.
The Banorn will not bow to you simply because you demand it.
Understand this. I will brook no threat to this nation from you or anyone.
Van Tegan, please!
Your Majesty, your father risks civil war. If Eamon were here...
Van Tegan, my father is doing what is best.
Did he also do what was best for your husband, Your Majesty?
Is this my doggo? Be my doggo. Yeah. Oh.
More darkspawn, eh?
Before we do this battle. Rejection, when in positions of power, is very dangerous. Accuse others, like the enemy, of doing what you yourself are doing is a fabulous deflection from people thinking that you're doing that thing. Logain in that speech said, people will try to take advantage of our weakened state. That's what he's doing. But because he says it in that way, and he says it that calmly and that confidently from his position of power, people think, oh man, yeah, you're right. This guy knows what's up. He knows how to be guarded against this because he's thought of it. Like, people see that as a safety thing, but in reality, what he's doing is he is deflecting people from looking at him and saying, you're taking advantage of this weakened state. This happens a lot, and you should be very mindful of it happening in real life. Because when people in positions of power do this, you might ask yourself, how did you even get the idea that that's something that would happen? Perhaps it's because you yourself thought of it. So that's part one. Part two is then that guy actually calls him out on it, right? He says, this is awful fortuitous of you. Perhaps you are the person who is taking advantage of this weakened state. And he uses his power to threaten the guy. Which shows that that guy, if you're going to combat that guy with a show of force like that, it shows that he tapped an insecurity. But the unfortunate part about this is Logain has the power of an army. He's got the benefit of the doubt of many people. So he can be in that position to threaten him. But when people get really reactive to people critically thinking about a situation, that often doesn't look good on them. Again, particularly if they're in a position of power. And people in positions of power should always be held more accountable than their constituents.
I'm off.
Guys, it's badass. Good shit. He wags his tail and happily pants. Good doggo. Those darkspawn didn't hurt you, boy, did they?
I think he was out there looking for you. He's chosen you. Mabari are like that. They call it imprinting.
Does this mean we're going to have this mangy beast following us about now? Wonderful.
He's not mangy.
Dogs are a lot of responsibility. I don't know that I would want one, but if you like him, you can have him.
Me? I don't want a dog. I can barely take care of myself.
So many comments come to mind. I cannot even begin to choose.
At any rate, he must remember you helping him back at Ostagar. You're imprinted. Lucky you.
Okay. I suppose he might be handy. He just took those darkspawn down. Happy bark. Yeah. Please enter a name for the dog. That is Dirk the dog. The Mabari is clever enough to speak and wise enough to know not to. Mick found this Mabari in the camp at Ostagar. His master was killed in the wilds, and Dirk fell ill from biting the darkspawn in battle. Dirk seems to have chosen Mick as his new master now, seeking Mick out after the Battle of Ostagar and warning of an impending darkspawn attack. Yeah. Queen Honora. We have been given the gift of freedom by our forebears. Let us not squander it. The only child of the war hero Logain MacTyr, Honora has never been one to stay quietly in the background. It is common knowledge that in 5 years, Honora and Kaelin held the throne together. She was the one wielding the power. She is held in much higher esteem than her husband by the people of Ferelden, nobility and commoners alike, and commands the respect of even foreign nations. Having once inspired Empress Celine of Orlais to declare Honora of Ferelden is a solitary rose among brambles. That's why you need more women in power, man. Alright. He returned to Denerim. So Logain returned to Denerim and declared himself the regent to his daughter, Queen Honora, demanding that Ferelden follow him against the Darkspawn, upsetting a great many of the band's man. So he's leveraging the goodwill that people have for the Queen. Ban Tegan Garen. The Banorn will not bow to you simply because you demand it. Younger brother to Arl Eamon of Redcliffe and uncle to King Kaelin, Tegan holds the Banorn of Rhinesfair, a tiny province of Redcliffe squeezed between the Frostback Mountains and Lake Calenhad. Ban Tegan avoids the Denerim court except to go hunting with his nephew and rarely makes himself heard at the Landsmeet, preferring to leave politics to his brother. So that's a big deal then that he spoke up, because he tends to be quiet. Interesting. Alright. So, we've got a dog now, Alistair. We got Dirk the dog. He's a good boy. Sits down and stares at you attentively. Can you do something about this gory mess? Awesome. He can clean my armor. Freaking love it. Dirk relieves himself on an inconspicuous area nearby. See anything interesting? Dirk runs up to you and deposits a lightly damaged cake into your waiting hands. Thanks, dude. Cake, excellent. Good boy. What? You found cake? Found cake. Soggy brown cake-like object that has probably seen better days. This was found by Dirk. Flecks of dog spittle still cling to it. I can sell it to a merchant. Okay. Well, let's go loot these guys.
Yes.
Thank you, Dirk. I love it. All right. Dirk is good. And on that good note, I think that's a good place for us to stop part 3. If you've been watching this YouTube video and made it all the way to the very end, thank you so much for your support. I hope you enjoyed this. There's a lot of shit that went down this episode. It's funny because like sometimes I feel like I just react to stuff. Sometimes analysis just kind of is like secondary because I just can't believe what's going on. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed my commentary on this episode. I appreciate you taking the time to watch it all the way to the end. As always, if you ever want to be part of chat while we're hanging out and doing these streams, follow me on Twitch and join us on 9:30 p.m. Pacific time. I really appreciate you all being here. Make sure you like the video on your way out. Leave a comment if there's something you'd like to say. I read all the comments. I don't respond to all of them, but I do read all of them, and I appreciate what y'all have to say. And just as long as you don't spoiler backseat. And make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you're binging this way out in the future, enjoy part 4. If you're watching this live as they come out, we'll get it out to you as soon as we can. But I appreciate all of you, and I can't wait to catch you on the next one. We've got a dog now.
you.